What is the ceiling for Olivier-Maxence Prosper? Is Tim Hardaway? Is he going to be back, according to Mark Cuban, maybe? And let's hang out together in this third segment and answer some rapid-fire questions on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome to Locked On Mavs. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris, contributor to Mavs.com, Studio 41, Corner 3. Today I'm riding solo. No Nick, if you're watching on YouTube. Shout out to Nick. Spend some time with some family. But thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment below. Do you think Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be back next year? Do you think Mark Cuban was on a Sirius XM radio? I guess people still listen to the radio. On Sirius XM radio. And got some tweets about the Tim Hardaway comment. Is he going to be back? I'll share some thoughts all on that. And then obviously, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, we started a thing called Subtext a while back. This is a way to stay in contact with us, Nick and myself, that you can shoot us a text, ask us a question. It's a way that you can also support us. And if you're watching on YouTube, at the bottom of the screen is a number you can text and get signed up for that. Thank you for everyone who has signed up for Subtext over the past few weeks. We've done some AMAs on there. Nick is on it when it comes to Mavs rumors and news that drops. He's posting on there if you're not on Twitter. But anyway, there's Subtext. There's stuff in the description below on that. Guys, we got a game day coming up on Friday. Also, I'm using a new program today. It's the first time. So shout out if it's a little clunky on the video side. Don't come at me too hard. Trying. No soundboard. Not yet. Got to get on Nick's level for that. Make that locked on money. But game day on Friday. Pacers. I don't think Rick Carlisle is going to be coaching that game. We'll go out on a limb, but he might be there. I don't know. But Mavs play Pacers at 6 p.m. Central Time. That'll be on ESPN. I think the main channel on ESPN, or streaming on Mavs.com. Pacers obviously have Jarris Walker, which is top 10 draft pick. They got a couple guys on their team that I'm kind of excited. I haven't got to watch their summer league team play yet, but Big Oscar, Big O from Kentucky. I hope that he can stick in the league. Good rebounder. They got Ben Shepherd, who's a draft pick for them. Really good shooter. Anyway, that's Friday, 6 p.m. Mavs, Pacers. I'll be back to talk about that one. And speaking of that game, Jayden Hardy shut down kind of as I think Mark Stein said, a precautionary reason, but he had a little shoulder injury in the Golden State game. And it looks like he's not going to play in that game or the rest of Summer League. And doesn't seem too serious, as Mark Stein said. So it means more time for Mike Miles, more time for Jelly Walker, and obviously more time for Olivier-Maxence Prosper and Derek Lively. Guys, I dropped a tweet earlier today. Had a little off day. It's Thursday. There's no game day. My wife is she's like, hey, how are their Mavs games? I thought when they didn't make the play-in that there's no more Mavs games, and now I'm dropping got a Mavs game. I can't do anything tonight. Mavs play the Pacers Friday night, so I will be kicked back, taking some game notes, watching some plays, and as the kids like to call it, some veer action out there. But anyway, I'll be watching that game with a lot of you guys. And so anyway, I shot out an email, ICQ message, AOL. Shout out a tweet. I guess, I don't know, Twitter might be on that world at some point. Anybody else threading right now? I have a threads. I haven't been threading. Shout out a tweet that said, hey, what do y'all want to talk about tonight? A lot of responses. All right. A lot of random responses too. So going to talk about Omax and talk about his ceiling. Answer some rapid fire Mavs questions in the second segment. And then the third segment's going to be off the wall. Some engagement ring talk, some shoe talk, there's some weird questions in there. So I'll save that for the third segment, but a lot of questions about Omax, and rightfully so after that Golden State game. And guys, I felt like I was all the clips of Reggie Bullock and his island, whenever it's like, hey, he bought this island and there was like nothing on the island. And he was like posting stuff on Instagram of like him riding a 4-wheeler on this island of nothing yet, but he's going to build it up to something awesome. That's how I felt like on Omax Island going into the draft. You guys know that. So if you're asking me, I don't even think it's fair to ask me all these questions about Omax's ceiling, because I'm going to sit here and talk about some Hall of Famers. We could do this for a whole show if y'all wanted to do that. But no, actually, I'm going to kind of do the opposite. So don't get too mad at me. We got to manage the expectations. We got to just take a moment, take a deep breath, and then just count to 5. This is what I tell my son sometimes. He gets all worked up. A Lego, tower falls down. He's all upset. I was like, hey, let's just count to 5, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let's talk about Omax's future in the league. I got tweets today from, somehow it started from draft night of, hey, can he be our next Dorian Finney-Smith, to where I got tweets today saying, how is he OG? How is he going to be Kawhi Leonard? And I'm like, all right, there has to be an in-between here, right? So I'm going to try to lump a lot of these Omax questions into one conversation right now. Questions around, is he going to start this year? Who's going to start, him or Josh? What's his future role? What's his ceiling? Is he the next OG? Kind of Omax versus Josh on the team next year. Can he win Rookie of the Year? Let's hit a few of these. I don't think he's winning Rookie of the Year. I also don't think Wemby's going to win it. I was asking before the draft, Nick, what are the odds of the for the field on the Rookie of the Year stuff? And I should have took them. I don't really put down too many bets. Shocker. But if I did, I would take the field on that. And that was before Summer League. But I don't think Omax is going to be the guy on that one. I also want to take a step back on the starting stuff. Seeing some people throw out the word starting, and can he start to begin the year? Can he start in place of Josh to begin the year? I just want to chill on that one for a second. I want to, on the scale of Dorian Finney-Smith and Kawhi Leonard, we have to meet in the middle, and honestly, not even the middle on that probably. Do I think he's further along than what Dorian Finney-Smith was when he started his career in Dallas? Yes, I do. A lot of that is because he can put the ball on the floor, drive to the basket. He's got some handles. I think he's already a better shooter. He's probably a more versatile defender. So yes, is he better than Dorian Finney-Smith? Yes. Is he Kawhi Leonard? No, not right now. Hey, but that's the thing about it, is like, can he be the next OG Anunoby that we're looking at 2 years from now, and we're looking at Omax like we're looking at OG now? Sure. Why not? He's got all the tools, right? He's got the size. He's got the wingspan. He's got the motor. We saw what the shot was looking like the other night against Golden State. That's the key for him out of everything. Can he hit the shot consistently? That's going to be the number one thing. And in particular, the corner 3. If he can hit that consistently, then there's no way Jason Kidd's going to be able to not to play him. So I'm pretty dang confident. I'm sitting back enjoying the property on Omax Island, but I'm also not sitting there saying, dude, he's got to start, or he's going to be all rookie first team starting on day one. I expect him to come off the bench, and especially if they don't go out and get another wing, I'll address that here in a second. Then I think he has to be one of the first wings off the bench, and I'm excited about him. You guys know that. I'm excited about his potential. I'm excited about his fit alongside Luka and Kyrie. I think it's going to be great. I think there's going to be a little bumps along the way. I think he's going to get in foul trouble. I think he's aggressive, but defending, and people are going to bait him defensively. And I think he's going to get in some foul trouble. I think he plays a little heavy-footed, a little flat-footed sometimes when defending some quicker guys. And I think he's going to be on the wrong end of some highlights of getting his ankles broke here and there. But all the other stuff is going to outweigh that stuff that you're not going to see on the highlight clips on House of Highlights and the Twitter things. I think he is going to be a PJ Tucker, Aaron Gordon light type of player. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for him as a person. And you guys, I feel like I just go on a whole Omax pod. I should have just done a whole Omax pod and just geeked out about him even more. But I'm excited about him in Dallas. I think he's going to be good. Let's take a quick break. And then we'll be back because I got to talk some Tim Hardaway Jr. Mark Cuban made a comment on a radio show on Sirius XM, and we got to talk about that. But first, we have to talk about bird dogs. How excited am I to talk about bird dogs? I'm pretty dang excited because, as you know, I got a couple pair of bird dogs myself. And I work at a place to where you don't have to be in a suit and tie, but you also don't want to be in like basketball shorts either. You got to rock some class, but also be comfy. And this heat index right now in Texas is absolutely insane. This is where bird dogs comes into play. They're stretchy. You got khaki shorts. There's gray. There's khaki colors, all kinds of colors, black. And this is it. So, go to birddogs.com, Locked On NBA, enter the promo code Locked On NBA for a free Yeti style tumbler. When I got my box in the mail, I got those 2 shorts and the tumbler. That's birddogs.com/Locked On NBA or promo code Locked On NBA for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. Not only we promise you, I promise you that because they're actually really, really good shorts. So go to birddogs.com to get your pair of shorts. All right, how to play that cool music that Nick always plays. Come on, isn't it somewhere? Here we go. Get ready. Bam! Let's go! Well, now I got to get the ad thing off the screen. I don't know how to get that off. No, we can't have it play over again. We're not in an ad break. He's going to absolutely love this part. I don't see how gosh, this is annoying to go back and forth. All right, let's talk about Mark Cuban and Tim Hardaway. I'm glad y'all enjoyed that. You probably got a good laugh if you're watching on YouTube. So, Mark Cuban's on this show on Sirius XM. Sorry, I don't know the name of the show. And I saw the quote pulled away from it, and I was like, oh, wow, he really did say Tim Hardaway's going to be back. Okay, so let me go watch the context of the quote. Okay, not to say that he's lying, but when you watch the full clip, he's like listing out the roster. It's not a very convincing clip. I think he's like listing out the roster. They kind of the host went over the offseason additions or moves so far. And he's kind of like listing off, yeah, we added Seth, good shooter. We have this guy, Timmy's coming back. We got this. And he just like casually throws it in there in a way of like, he's kind of going down the roster. So he feels like he needs to say the name. Could be reading into it. He could be back. I don't expect him to be back. I still don't think he's back. But it wasn't honestly, it wasn't what he said about Rashawn Holmes. I thought that was the biggest part of the clip because right after he says that about Timmy, he's like just going on and, listing out a sentence of players for the Mavs. He says, and we added Rashawn Holmes. Rashawn Holmes, I think he's going to be such an underrated move of the offseason. You look at, where he's at and what he's done before. And then he like goes on to kind of like hype up Rashawn Holmes. If he did that about Tim, I would have believed it a little bit more or like been a little bit more in the camp of like, dang, like Tim might be back. But I didn't watch that clip and change my mind and say, all right, Tim's back for sure. And once again, I've seen some people push back on us and like, why do you want to trade Tim so bad? He's a good shooter. You want shooters around Luka and Kyrie. It's not as much as he's a bad player. It's more of you have to upgrade the center spot somehow. And to get a quality center, then you need to trade a contract. And there's not too many other options on your team unless you're going to trade. You've already traded Reggie Bullock to get Grant Williams, which is a great move. We've covered that. But unless you're going to trade like a Maxi Kleba, which I would rather keep Maxi, and I think the Mavs would too, instead of, Yeah, I would rather, yes, instead of Tim Hardaway. So Tim Hardaway's just right now looking like the odd man out, especially if you believe in Jayden Hardy taking a step, especially with Seth Curry coming in and all of that. So anyway, that's why I still expect Tim Hardaway to be gone. One of the questions I got on that was, hey, what are the chances the Mavs trade for a starting center before the season? We've both been on this. I still think they make the trade. I think it happens sooner rather than later. Could be wrong on that. But I do think they're waiting on the shakeout of the Damian Lillard, James Harden trades. Like, we got to see Pascal Siakam trades. Like, these trades are most likely going to be 3 or 4 team trades. So, I mean, there's going to be ripple effects from these trades, if not just in the actual trade itself, but then, ripple effect trade outside of that. So I think they're just waiting to see if they can pounce on one of these, teams to get a big and then kind of go from there. I'm saying it again, could be wrong. I will be thoroughly shocked if this is the exact same Mavericks team that goes into training camp. I still expect them to make a move. Somebody asked me about Rashawn Holmes versus Dwight Powell as the starter. Honestly, I don't even know how to answer that. I don't have any read on Rashawn Holmes outside of what Mark Cuban said that I talked about. I think it's hard for anybody to really make a projection on Rashawn Holmes. We haven't seen him play too much, recently. He was on this Kings team. He got hurt, a while back, but then he was healthy for a Kings team who made an offseason or a postseason run and basically just stashed him on the bench. So I think it's kind of hard to have a definitive opinion on him right now, whether you're on the side saying, hey, he sucks. I don't really see how you could say that. Also don't see how you could say, dude, he's awesome and he's going to be our starting center and just be incredible. I don't see how you can say that either, because we don't really have too much to go off recently. You could take a shot at it, take a guess at it. Heck, I would love to see him come to Dallas and excel and be awesome and, be a better version of what Dwight Powell does. Then sure. But I've been pretty vocal about this. I said it I think it was last pod. I was on a couple days ago. If this is our center rotation, which I don't think it will be going into camp, but if it is, I think you should start Derek Lively and say screw it. Like, start with Lively, get him some reps. If you get some foul trouble, you bring in Holmes or Powell. But yeah, I still think they make a trade. Let's do another question here. Somebody says, if you're forced to put Josh Green, Jayden Hardy, or the first round pick in a trade, which are you doing? This is going to be a kind of probably against the crowd, probably not as much like Jon Snow pulling out the sword at the Battle of the Bastards there, but it would be Jayden Hardy for me, and I like Jayden a lot. I do. But if I had to pick one of these 3 to put in a trade, it would be Jayden. And that's kind of based off of where the team's at, where the roster is at right now, with Luka and Kyrie. Yeah, and just like what you really need around them. You need guys like Josh Green who could defend, a bigger wing. You need the first round pick. I think the first round pick has more value than Jayden Hardy does if it's a bigger trade. So you kind of need to hold on to that, in my opinion. And I mean, we could say it's going to come across like I'm like trying to like hate on Jayden, which I'm not, because I really like him a lot. If I had to pick out of these 3, it would be Hardy. And also you just have to look at the state of smaller shooting guards, which that's a whole conversation in itself of like what Dallas has been trying to do and run the offense through Jayden, and whether he's a 1, whether he's a 2, it looks like he's still more comfortable being a 2. And if he is just a 2, what is that career trajectory type thing? We've been saying Jordan Poole, but the Warriors just paid a price to get off of Jordan Poole's contract. We've been saying like a Tyler Hero type, and now Miami's like, Portland saying we don't really want Tyler Hero. So you got to look at what's the career path for him in all of that. I'm excited for it. I hope he's in Dallas for a long time. If I had to pick one of the 3, I'm picking Jayden Hardy in that. Somebody asked me, how fast do you think Luka looked in that cone drill? I'm going to move on to the next question. Somebody said, well, I can't comment on that. Would I prefer a wing or a big in a trade? It is a big for me right now. And that is partially because of how much I believe in Omax Prosper. I think Grant Williams is the starter. I think Josh Green is starting alongside him as currently constructed. And I'm just a believer in Omax. I think Omax can be that next guy off the bench that comes in for Grant and is the next bigger wing off the bench. I would just rather trade for a solidified starting big. I still want it. I'd love for Lively and Dwight and Rashawn to come off the bench and kind of be your three guys off the bench, depending on the matchups and stuff. So, yeah, right now I'd prefer to trade for a big. All right, let's take another quick break, and then we'll be back. And I got to answer some wild questions y'all were throwing at me on the Twitter sphere today. FanDuel. Our friends at FanDuel have some new odds up. I was looking today, and they have conference winners odds for next season. Conference winners. How far do you think Dallas is down this list? They actually are on the list before you have to click the see more button. But Denver is a plus 240. You got Phoenix at plus 310. Golden State plus 600, Lakers plus 900. The Clippers are plus 1,000, and the Dallas Mavericks with the sixth best odds. Actually tied for the sixth best. Memphis is with them at plus 1,200. If I was the Kings, I'd be so pissed because they had such a good year last year, and now they're down to like 8th on this list for odds to win the Western Conference. But yeah, so Dallas plus 1,200 odds to win the Western Conference next year. If you're confident in that, go to FanDuel. If you go to FanDuel, you can get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200. And you get spending everything from the money line to the over under to who you think is going to the first basket. Yes. Offer an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you can get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on the NBA than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. We got to get the transition thing. I'm so excited to have this. Bam! Now it's off. There's too much going on when you have to click on all these things coming out of breaks and stuff. But it's good. I'll get used to it. Calm down, Nick. All right. Let's talk about some fun stuff that I got asked. Besides Luka and the cone drill. Y'all can't be coming at me with stuff like that. Somebody asked me about the Luka 2 shoes. We talked about them the other day whenever we went over kind of some shoe talk. Kyrie's new deal with Anta and the CCO big time title for Kyrie at Anta. And then also the Luka 2s that are now for sale. Honestly, I just don't like any of the colorways so far, so I don't have a pair yet. So wait for some more colorways to come out, and then I'll at least get me 1 or 2 pair of the Luka 2s. So thanks for asking. I'll get them eventually. I still like the Luka 1s more. Somebody said, "Hey, why have you not watched Avatar?" Because I watch good shows? No, I'm just kidding. I've heard really good things about it outside of Nick, and it just doesn't look appealing to me. I'm sorry. I don't really get into cartoons. I did when I was like 8, but not as a grown man. So sorry. I don't really know. I mean, I watched like The Grinch at Christmas time, but shout out to the new Omax drop. But yeah, I just don't have a really, there's nothing appealing about watching Avatar right now. So sorry, guys. Y'all can have your subtext conversations with Nick about Avatar. Couple questions about Mavericks rebrand stuff. I have a whole new appreciation for rebrand stuff. I've been working on for a little over 6 months now, working on a rebrand at a bigger rebrand at my day job, which is at a church, and as a pastor on staff at a church. And we've been working on a rebrand for 6 months, and it is some hard work. And I was just talking with somebody the other day, and I'm like, there's a weight to it, right? Like there's a weight, like a heavy weight to it of whatever you land on and whatever is the next visual identity of your, NBA team or organization or church or whatever it is. There's going to be people who just don't like it at all. Like I mean, shocker here, whatever the Mavericks do, there's going to be people who don't like it. And I just have a whole new appreciation of it, that there's just so many different layers that go into a rebrand that literally, I mean, especially for an organization like the Mavericks, probably takes, years. Like we're literally talking years. I know some of these city jerseys, the process and all of that takes multiple years, if not longer. That, yeah, can't get into all of that. But anyway, rebrand super hard. Yes, I would be way open to it and excited for it. And if the Mavericks reach that point one day, if they do, and yeah, it's exciting. But just remember, whatever they do, they're gonna get roasted for it. All right, we gotta get to this question. Somebody wrote and said, advice for buying an engagement ring. Okay. I know I'm going to be a little anti of what some people were replying in my Twitter mentions, which my Twitter mentions at one point turned into this whole like retirement talk of like Roth IRAs and like all this stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? Because somebody asked me a question like that. Why you'd ask me, I don't know. And then some, couple, CPAs or whoever they are coming in like, hey, let me give you financial advice. And bam, half my notifications was, back and forth and all of that. But somebody asked about the engagement ring thing. Multiple people replied to him and was like, hey, you should go this route and you should get an uncut diamond and you should call this, person and go through here. It's cheaper. You do all this, do that. And yes, I am sure there's all kinds of ways to do that. And I am that person with a lot of different things in life. Trust me, I am. With the engagement ring, if you can, I wouldn't do that. You're asking me for my advice. So I'm going to give it. If I had to list things in my life that I wanted to make sure that I got right, that I didn't have to, that I could take away any stress or anxiety from my part, that I could, it is the engagement ring. In my mind, this is the one time that I want to buy an engagement ring, and I want my wife to love her ring. I want her, I'm like, if I'm going to spend the money on it, which I'd been saving up for and, different stuff to get the money to get her a ring, I want her to love it. I want her to feel special in it. I want her to show it off and all of that stuff. And you know what? I will buy it from a dealer and do the warranty stuff and all of that. And I haven't had to worry about it since. And because of that, a little diamond, comes loose on a ring. You know what I do? We just pull up to the place we got it, the company we got it from. And she just goes in, they tighten it up, they clean it, they send it off. We've had it re-dipped and all the stuff. And you just don't even have to worry about it. Sometimes it's worth paying the extra money to not have to worry about something or to reduce some anxiety of stuff. And so anyway, my long story short, any advice I've given to a young adult or whoever that's looking to get engaged, I'm like, if there's something that you spend a little bit more money on, if there's something you spend a little bit more time on, or maybe you go a non-traditional route to make sure you get it right type of thing, for me, it's the engagement ring, because I want her to love that for the rest of her life. And you know what? That's how we did it. I literally took my wife and I dated for 5 years. Some of y'all could just turn the podcast off. So whatever. We dated for 5 years before we got married. I think we got engaged like a year before we got married. So we knew it obviously at some point that we were going to, after I'd asked her parents' permission and all of that. We did a trip to the mall one day. Shout out to malls. And was just like, hey, let's just look at different cuts. Let's look at different things. And do you like the princess cut? Do you like this cut? Do you like this? Just looking at stuff here and there. And, this is where you don't have to walk around with your, little handy dandy notebook writing down everything, but this is where you just lock in. It's like, all right, make a mental note. You don't like the circle diamond. You like princess cut. You like this. You like that. And and that's kind of how I mapped it out. End up being one. She actually saw a certain ring. She's like, man, in a perfect world, I love this one. This one's awesome. I love the rings on the side or diamonds on the side like this. And that's the one I end up surprising her and making happen. And I ate saltine crackers for 3 years after that. And, didn't have a car and couldn't really do anything else financially, but but yeah, there you go. There's the engagement ring talk that I'm sure 98% of you did not care about, but the one person who asked, you're welcome. Guys, Friday tomorrow is game day. As I said earlier, Mavericks play the Pacers, 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN, streaming Mavs.com. I'll be back tomorrow night to talk about hopefully a good Omax game, some good Derek Lively moments, and all of that. So thanks for hanging out. Don't be too mean in the comments. And catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Boom.